Hey, this is Amal from TechLeatherCraft. In this video I want to review the Manvex Portfolio case. This specific one is for the Surface Pro 3, but they do make them also for the Surface Pro 2 and the Surface 3, the non-Pro version. I'll have links in the description to Amazon. Be sure to check that you click on the appropriate model for your case. They do have different colors depending on whether it's the Surface Pro 2, the Surface 3, or the Surface Pro 3. The Surface Pro 3 here is the red and black version. They do have like a black and gray and like a brown and gray. This Surface Pro 3 is my wife's, so she picked the red color. So I just want to kind of review the design of the case really quick and talk about some pros and cons. I'll get the cons over with really quick because there are not very many, but first of all, this is like a faux leather, and me being a leather worker, it is probably one of my kind of complaints. It is fake vinyl, and you can't really tell so much on the outside. When I get to the inside, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And there are a couple places where the stitching is just kind of loose a little bit here and there, but overall the stitch job is pretty decent. It just doesn't have the same feel as real leather, but you know, for $27, that's kind of what you expect. So I'll quickly review the exterior. You see they have these openings here for the ports for your charging connector. On the long edge, you'll see these cutouts right here. These are also for the heat to escape from this top fan vents. You can make them out right there. They run the full length of the tablet and all the way over to here. The power button is exposed and the volume rocker and headphones are open. But I really like this design because it allows really for a lot of heat to escape from the top here, and you know, these holes are really well thought out. They still protect the surface, but because they're large enough, and you know, depending on how you slide the tablet in, there'll be quite a little bit of a gap right there, so the heat can escape out of the top. Do be aware when you put the pen in, it does block part of the holes, but overall the surface actually runs pretty cool unless you're doing something, you know, kind of processor extensive. Another thing I'll point out is there's the cutout right there for the camera. One thing you'll notice is there's a magnet right here, and basically what that allows is for the magnetic flap to actually be held back, which comes in really handy when you just want to use the tablet and you don't want a little flap kind of flapping in your way. If you've used the case like that, you know what I'm talking about. Also, since there's a front-facing camera here, if you were using something like Skype or video conferencing, you wouldn't want the flap kind of flapping around, or you know, anything like that getting in the way. So I do like that. It's a really, I think, a nice touch that they added. Comes in handy. So let's talk about the inside of the case really quick. When you open it up, now my wife does keep her Microsoft type cover on the tablet itself almost all the time. So there's these kind of 4 channels, grooves, impressed into this little kind of a velvet feeling material. Now this is where you can kind of see the cheap leather, because these pockets feel really flimsy. So the inside, you can kind of see that the pockets are made of that vinyl. They feel really cheap. I think they'll hold up fine for occasional if you want to store your business cards in here. But that is really probably the other part where I notice the vinyl being issues. It's just that the pocket area is kind of cheap and feels a little flimsy. Other than that, the rest of the interior is pretty nice. I really like this kind of felt material when you have your keyboard cover on, because it also is kind of fuzzy, has a suede felt feel to it. When you slide it out and prop the tablet open, it actually does a really nice job at gripping. These two materials do a nice job of gripping. Other thing I'll point out is a lot of other tablet designs, the kickstand for the Surface is kind of somehow integrated into the case. I really didn't like that because it kind of looked awkward, and I was afraid that the case, in fact, might end up doing something funky, like twisting the kickstand off or something. I like this design better, where the case is acting as the kickstand, and the literal kickstand of the Surface is, you know, is part of the tablet, is all in this little pocket. One of the complaints people have had is sometimes if there's no kind of solid back here behind there. So if you're resting it on your lap, this actually works really well, because the case itself kind of provides like a solid back piece for you to type. If you've ever used the Surface Pro 3 on your lap, one of the complaints I've heard is that sometimes if you don't have a solid back, let's say your knees or your thighs are here, that sometimes the keys are not as responsive. So that kind of eliminates that problem because it kind of provides that back. So you're gonna want to angle it, how you want. You want to be aware that if you angle it too far, back, it will, of course, fall back on itself. So you can set it up in multiple ways. If you wanted to have it flat against the front case, you could leave it flat, or if you want to have a little angle, you could always tilt it like that. There's a cutout here for the Windows button, and the cutouts are here for the camera and the other sensors. Just to show you really quick how to get it installed. Installing is pretty easy. Once again, for under $30, I don't think you can go wrong. So that has been my review of the Manvex leather case Portfolio. As I mentioned, they do have several other colors. Stay tuned, I'll be doing a quick review of the Tech Armor screen protector that I do have on here. I'll just talk about that briefly in another video. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in tech, leathercraft, and EDC multi-tool stuff. I have more stuff coming up pretty soon. Thanks for watching.